Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Kenny Bazwai and welcome to Kenny Baz World Outreach. Today is a very beautiful day, as you all know. This is the best day to be alive. Today we are having a very, very unique day. I have a special guest in the building, a man that has been able to put Africa, Nigeria back to the map, a man that has fought for us in his own way and believe himself. A barrister, somebody that's a veteran in the bar that was called to bar more than 16 years ago, a minister of affairs. I have today in this building our big brother, a man once again. I will let him introduce himself more. I have Mr. MaDU in the building, Minister of Affairs, Abata. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well.
God bless you, sir.
My pleasure.
I want to say thank you for your time. I thank you for the fact that you were able to meet it here, and God bless you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Kenny, and thank you, everyone out there who is listening. My name is Kaycee MaDU. I am the member of the Legislative Assembly for the Edmonton Southwest in the province of Alberta. I am also very privileged to be serving as the province of Alberta's Minister of Municipal Affairs.
Wow, beautiful, sir. We did some research about you. You were elected to the office, I believe it was on the 16th of April this year.
On April the 16th.
Yes, and you were sworn to the office on the 30th of this year, if I'm accurate. Am I correct?
You are correct. I was appointed the Minister of Municipal Affairs by the Premier of Alberta, the Honourable Kaycee MaDU, on April the 30th, 2019.
Wow. I know Jesse Kinney used to be the Minister of Immigration. I remember that year.
The Premier has won all kinds of cabs as a federal public servant. He was the Minister of Immigration, Employment and Social Development, Minister for Multiculturalism, as well as the Minister of Defense for our country.
You also, when we did our research, you have gotten a lot of award of excellency in the bronze media category in 2019. Tell us a little bit of that experience.
Well, that was when I was in the public service. It was the work that myself and my team did on behalf of the government of Alberta that earned the then Premier's recognition in the bronze medal category.
Wow. And during our research, we realized that you're not only just a minister now. I saw you playing soccer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, as you know, I was born and raised in Nigeria.
Yes.
And those of us who were born and raised in Nigeria are very familiar with the game of soccer. And we love soccer, all of us.
But you know, the way I see it, it makes you an ordinary person doing extraordinary thing. Being able to still go out in the field, amongst your people, play with them, it makes you, in my own opinion, you are in touch. Makes you like you are not disconnected. And that's really powerful to me, the way we see it in media. And I want to say that's a great move. Tell us a little bit about your political parties, because I know that where you are probably merely the only voice in that area. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, you know, Kenny, it's a privilege to have been the first Nigerian-born to be elected member of the legislature in this country, and the first African-born to be elected, to be appointed a cabinet minister in any of the provincial government in this country. You know, yes, I am the only black member of the legislature in the province of Alberta, but it is a privilege to be able to serve a great province and a great people, and to be able to represent all of us in the People's Chamber.
Now, were you in politics in Nigeria? Like, how did this come up? Were you a politician in Nigeria? I know, for those that missed it, the minister here was born and raised in Nigeria, and that's why I'm asking if you were one time in the politics in Nigeria.
I have never been involved in politics in Nigeria.
So how does this come about?
Well, you know, Kenny, as you rightly said, I was born and raised in southeast Nigeria. I went on to attend the University of Lagos. Myself and my wife left Nigeria in 2005 to Canada. And I have worked in different places, came from a very humble background. And the being able to give, being able to serve in the community, give your time and resources to help our various communities, whether it is in the community league, in our local churches, in the mosque or in the temple, it's something that is very important to me. And politics, I've always said that politics, in the end, if we understand it correctly, it's all about public service. You know, being able to serve our people.
So why did you get into politics in Canada, and why precisely Alberta?
Alberta and this country gave me everything I've ever asked for.
I will agree with you on that, man.
Everything.
I'm blessed.
Everything I've ever asked for. When I came to this country, all I have got with me was a belief that in this country, if you work hard and abide by the rule of law, that if you do everything right, that you can become whomsoever you want to be. Alberta personifies that. It's a place where it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, it doesn't matter which language you speak, so long as you are prepared to work hard and play by the rules, you would be accepted. You can become anybody that you want to be. So for me, I was devastated when the NDP won the provincial election in 2005. Quite frankly, I have always been a lifetime conservative. You know, Alberta is a land where those who came before us met enormous difficult circumstances. And it's the heart of free enterprise economy in this country.
Huh.
It's a place where I've always said that you can go to, take a risk, and become successful, and nobody begrudges you of your success.
Now, talking about risk, what comes to mind is, what are the major challenges you faced coming from a Mao language from grass to grace? I use the word grass to grace because you were not born in Canada. Your skin is like my skin. Do you remember any major challenges that you encounter in the process of attaining this level of position?
You know, I have, and again, this is the beauty of this country and indeed my province of Alberta. Yet there are discrimination, yet there's racism, all of those things are real. But in that province, I have not had the opportunity to encounter any of those things. But they are real. There are issues, there are social issues that we face in our society. But as I said before, what the people of Alberta cares about is whether you are able to play by the rules, whether you are able to integrate. Integration is critical for people like us to be successful, to break that particular barrier. If we understand that it doesn't matter where you come from, what folks are looking for is what you bring to the table. And the only way you can be successful in public life, even in business, even in our various workplaces, is integration is critical.
Very, very.
You know, the economy is structured differently from the way it is structured where we come from. The culture is different. The way we transact businesses is different from where we come from. So if we are going to be successful, it is critical that we learn and internalize the way things are done here.
You see, talking about where we come from and the difference in between where we come from, knowing the current situation in Nigeria, politically, what do you think we are doing wrong, and what's your advice?
Well, my advice for the country of my birth has always been that there is enormous potential in Nigeria. I for one, believe that Nigerians are a group of smart individuals You know, if we level the ground in Nigeria, if we allow, if we deepen a democratic process, if we allow good governance to prevail, if the people of Nigeria elect a government that focuses on developing the economy, on building capacity, and allow a merit-based society, a merit-based government, a merit-based culture, the country in the end will be successful. Tribalism and nepotism, it doesn't help anyone. And I think that there are structural problems that the country must tackle if it is going to be successful. I've always said that Nigeria could learn a lot from Canada and indeed my own province of Alberta, and ask themselves, and the leaders must ask themselves what type of country they want to build.
Now, talking about countries, and we're just moving from Nigeria now,
Yes.
we're going to be going back and forth. This is Humber River Black Creek where we reside, and it's been crazy going on here. What's your political strength in this riding? Do you know who's representing you guys here?
Absolutely. As you know, I am a conservative, and I came all the way from Alberta to help my fellow federal conservative candidate in the greater GTA area, the 905 area, including where we are right now, which is the Humber River Black Creek.
Yes, sir.
So our candidate here that I have come to campaign for to help get elected is Ifeanyi Chowdhury.
Beautiful.
I do think that this country at this point in time is at a crossroad. And I do think that it is very important that we elect a group of leaders who would help us build a strong country with a strong economy.
So I'm going to take you a little bit back now.
Yes.
The early polling, people are voting already, early voting and so on. So tell me why I have to vote for your candidate.
Because, number one, let me say this. The Conservative Party is the party that elected me in Alberta. First and foremost, when I was running, folks were telling me that there's no way someone like myself will be elected by the Conservative Party by the United Conservative Party in Alberta. In fact, the liberals and the media who think that they know it best, all of them were saying that it is impossible. They accused us of being racist. If you recall, Kenny, they called me a white supremacist.
Yeah.
And actually, the Press Progress sent me an email asking me to apologize for being a white supremacist. And I, for one, think that the liberals and those on the left, sees us as a voting bloc. All we are good for is to vote. But when it comes to actually providing opportunity for us to grow politically or economically, it becomes a different question. I, for one, I am sick and tired of identity politics and politics of personal division.
Wow.
And all that comes to is vote. Whereas the conservative, we don't care who you are. Just work hard and contribute. Prove yourself, and we would help you get elected anywhere in this country. And I think that I have proven that in a place where the left-wing media, the CBC, would want you to believe that Alberta will not be able to elect someone like myself. But here in Ontario, where the Liberals have been the natural governing party, how many of us have they elected here? And at the provincial level?
Yeah.
And I dare to say 0. But we've got the numbers here. We've got very competent, capable people here. Why haven't we done that? But lastly also, if you recall, the Liberal candidate in this riding, Judy Squirrel,
Yeah.
I believe...
I was going to leave that to the last, but since you mentioned it, I want to throw that ball.
Yeah. So I believe she appeared on this very show.
Yes, she was here about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm going to quickly go to your tweet.
Sure.
You did tweet Libra candidate Judy Screw. Correct me if I'm wrong. I stand to be corrected.
Sure.
This is just electronic generated, and I thought it was from your page.
Sure.
So if I'm wrong, please don't hold me. Just correct me. You're
Sure.
Here. So you kind of say that they lie. Okay, let me just read it.
Sure.
It's even better. Liberal candidate Judy Screw shamefully says black people have more love, in quote, for Justin Trudeau because he dressed up in blackface. So apparently you said they lied, the fraud, and that's why. Is that am I copying it from the right source?
Can it
Someone lied to that. That's a little heavy.
Absolutely.
You went on it heavy.
I needed if
She came here. She was interviewed. As you know, GBK FM, we are for everybody. I encourage everybody. It's a platform that where anybody can come and so on. But apparently, after 10 days, the statement she made here froze the whole media in the whole country. Even in the US, everybody was tweeting it. It was freezing everywhere. And what do you say about that?
I mean, let me say this, and let me be blunt. That is the most ridiculous, statement I have come across from anyone in public office. But not surprised, because if you recall, that was in reference to what our prime minister, the prime minister of this country, did, wearing a blackface. A prime minister who is.
But when we argued that long time ago.
No, you see, I don't buy that argument for 1 second. We are talking about a prime minister who was 29.
At that time, a son
of a prime minister, a son of a former prime minister, who ought to know better and must know better, and we must hold him to account, because people who have the privilege of governing our country, of leadership, must be held to a much more higher account because they know better. And I think it was ridiculous and funny of the Prime Minister or Judy to suggest that black people love the Prime Minister, and that Prime Minister was putting on those costumes in deference to black people. Let me be clear. That was racist. It was discriminatory. And I challenge any black person out there to go and read about the history of blackface. That was something that has been used more than a century ago to discriminate against black people, to demean our humanity, to demean, to make us less humans. And a sitting prime minister of our country at the time that he was an adult, a teacher
for that matter,
at the time, and for Judy, who is the federal Liberal candidate in this riding,
been around for a while too,
for a while, to have the gut and effrontery to say that was a show of love is ridiculous. And the time has come for the black people in this riding to vote her out. I do think that the vote is here from the black population, from the black community, to make a difference. It is my expectation that they will weigh in with their vote and hold Judy and the Prime Minister to account.
As you know, early vote already starts. We want all of us to be involved in voting. Go cast your vote. I for one, I said it yesterday on air, I want to wait till the last minute of vote before I vote, because one day in politics can be 1 year, can be 1 week.
You're right.
I want to wait till the last minute before I vote, but I encourage everybody to start their early voting. Go online, put your postal code. You will see it will pop up where you can cast your vote. I'm going to move forward now to.
Sure.
Let's talk. I'm going back to Judy Screw again, but I just want to drift a little bit now because that's very sensitive, the way you analyze it, and it's very big. It's big to us. It's big to everybody that is listening. I want to talk about one thing that I said to you when you came here off camera. For me, the fact that you are a Nigeria born, you went through the struggle. This is my own opinion. It kind of touches me, and it gives me a lot of encouragement. I'm honest, and I'm saying it on air right now. And I said it to you off record. So, Every country have its own stereotype. As a Nigeria born and raised, now a minister in Canada, what will you say to the stereotype Nigeria may have?
You know, my message is that Nigeria is a country of approximately 200 million people. It is the largest black population on the face of the planet. It is the biggest economy in Africa.
Correct.
And in every society, there is going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. Regardless of our shortcomings, which every country on earth have got their own shortcomings. We have some of the brightest people on the face of the planet. We are a country, Nigeria is a country that's well educated. As you can tell, you know, I was born and raised there. The things that informed my upbringing and my worldview were instituted in that particular country and of course enhanced in this country and in my province of Alberta. And so I ask everyone to, yes, whilst we have our shortcomings, we also have our strength. There's weaknesses, there are strengths, and the people of that country have got amazing people scattered all over the world doing great things in the United States, in Canada, in Europe, in Africa. We are, as I said, some of the brightest people on earth. Some of us have gone on to do amazing things. We have...
But do you see yourself, as somebody that is changing life by even reading your bio? Do you see yourself like that?
Well, you know,
I'm going a little bit personal now.
Yeah.
You know,
I appreciate the fact that my successful election in Alberta and subsequent appointment by the Premier as Minister is something that all of us ought to be proud about. That one of our own have gone on to achieve that level of political success. And I think that, you know, is something that I am proud about. And I think it's something that those of us who are from the Nigerian descent or of African descent should be proud about. But that is the reason why I'm in Ontario. To make sure that we can build upon that success, because it is critical. I've always talked about the need to build the economic and political foundation. And so the question for all of us who are in this country is whether or not, if we agree that what I've achieved in Alberta is something we ought to be proud about and something that we ought to build upon. The question to all of you is, how do we join hand? How do we band together to make sure that we do much more?
now, talking about bound together, there's a saying that the visible minority don't participate in the electoral process. Do you agree to that?
Listen, I think there is data to support that.
You see, talking about data, we, based on our research, this is 2016 statistics, the visible minority, let me say the blacks now, we are about 1,198,550 people in Canada, which average 3.5%
Of the population.
of the population. Now, what do we do based on these statistics? And we already established that a lot of us don't take part in the electoral process. What do we do now to revitalize us, encourage us, and get us involved?
Let's begin with Ontario. Let's begin with Toronto. You know, I can tell you we've done an amazing work in Alberta. But right here in Ontario, right here in the greater GTA, we've got a lot of visible minorities of African descent right here.
Yeah, because we do have statistics say that we are about, the visible minority in Ontario is about 4.7%. So that even surpasses your Alberta. Alberta is about 3.3%.
Yeah, which is a huge voting bloc.
It is a huge show. The question now is, how do we consolidate? How do we come together and become a force?
So yesterday, in Ontario, I helped launch a great organization that is called the Afro Caribbean Canadian Conservatives Network.
Amazing.
ACCCN.
Amazing.
I think that is the platform that all of us that lives in Ontario, I want them to identify with. I want us to use our population to make a difference in our community. I want us to use our population to get involved in the political process. And when we work together, it's amazing what we can accomplish. I want us to end the politics of division, the politics of identity politics. And that is why I, again, led me from Alberta to Ontario to make sure that we do not further the liberal interest of using our population for vote, and it ends there. You know, the liberals and the NDPs and the left-wing media would want you to believe.
Yesterday, there was a caller that called into our station.
Yes.
And this was his opinion, that the Liberal, to be specific, the Prime Minister has put a lot of policy in place that favor us. When I mean us, the visible minority. Do you agree to that?
That is completely, with due respect, I fundamentally disagree with that.
So how? Because look at, okay, first of all, the statistics just came out. The unemployment rate we've grown. There are a lot of new jobs now, record breaking. I don't know if you saw the statistics that just came out when it comes on a job, new jobs, employment and so on. A lot of growth. Compared with both, how can you explain this?
The Prime Minister of a country is supposed to govern for the entire country. Is supposed to pursue policies that lead to economic growth in every region of our country. Is supposed to pursue policies that brings us together, not the politics of division or identity politics.
Right.
In my province of Alberta, the Prime Minister's policies have devastated our economy. The Prime Minister wants to end the oil and gas sector in Alberta. In fact, he is on record at saying that his long-term goal is to phase out Alberta's oil sands. Let me say this. The Alberta's oil and gas sector contributes more than $20 billion to the federal treasury every single year. Yeah. In the last 50 years, we have sent more than $600 billion to the federal coffers. And the Prime Minister and his government passed two devastating pieces of legislation that will make it impossible for us to develop that particular sector. Bill C-48 and C-69. Bill C-48 essentially bans the transportation of bitumen from Alberta to the West Coast. And Bill C-69 will make it impossible for us to build any more pipeline. Now, if we destroy that particular sector, what happens to the $20 billion we send to the federal government that is then distributed to Quebec, to Ontario,
and
to Nova Scotia, and the rest of the country? Have we thought about the consequences of that on those programs and services and jobs that we care about? More than 200,000 of my fellow Albertans have been out of work since this Prime Minister came to office, working with the ally in Alberta, the then NDP government, that thankfully that we defeated. $200,000 people. Unemployment rate in Alberta is at an all-time high. Calgary is devastated.
Yes, those areas
devastated.
Got a lot of hits.
You're right. Calgary used to have one of the highest employment rates in the country. We have more than $60 billion in debt, projected to $100 billion. We are spending more than $2 billion on interest rate. Ontario, right here, under the previous Liberal government, had more than $300 billion in debt. They were spending approximately $12 billion every single year on interest rate alone. Can you think about what $12 billion could do to provide the programs and services? Some money we pay to bondmasters, banks, many of whom are in foreign countries. The Prime Minister needs to govern for our country and not for foreigners. He is allowing foreign oil tankers to come into the country. Meanwhile, the oil from our own country cannot come to British Columbia.
You see, this is a thing that I will research more on. I have basic knowledge when it comes to this argument, so I can't really go in details, but it's alarming. If it's what you're saying, if it's really what it is, that's something that it's really crazy. But I'm going to move forward now.
But before we move on, let me say this, Kenny, and you can fact check this. 4 pipelines have been killed under our current Prime Minister. 4 pipelines. You remember what happened to Trans Mountain Pipeline?
Yes. That's,
we chased away a private company ready, prepared to build that pipeline. The only thing they asked for was, government, please stay out of the way so we can build a pipeline. And the federal Liberal government did not allow that. I want our countrymen and women, and if you are listening to me across this country, coast to coast, to think about whether or not you would have a government that is in the public of providing public services to pursue policies that would lead investors, private enterprise, prepared, ready to invest, decides to walk away from private investment.
You know, I'm going to, as we wind down, and once again, I just want to say a very big thank you for your time. I know you and your staff, you have a tight schedule. I really appreciate it. But I'm going to wind up, I'm going to round up with this question again. I want to go back to just because it was aired on this platform, I want to go back onto the Blackface.
Right.
When it comes to the Blackface, we all know the story, we know what it represents and so on. Do you think this will impact the results that we're going to get from the election on the 21?
My hope, is that every, black person listening to me in this riding of Humboldt River, Black Creek, goes out there and vote against the Liberal candidate, because we must hold her to account, and we must hold the Prime Minister to account. And if we do that, if the black people in this community band together and by their vote show that it is unacceptable for a public official to go on air and make that type of assertion and statement and vote against that particular candidate as a way to hold her to account, it would make a huge difference in the outcome of that election. I do think that this is one instance in which the black folks in this community must show unity.
Honourable Kaycee MaDU, this is it for today. I want to say a very big thank you to you, to your entire staff, and for your time. In conclusive, what we always do here, because this platform is for everybody, do you have anything you want to say to Edmonton West, your people at home? Do you have anything you want to say to your political party? Do you have anything at all before we round up?
I just want to thank the good people of my constituent in Edmonton Southwest for the privilege that they have given me to be able to serve as a member of the legislature, and obviously my home province, Alberta, for the opportunity to serve as the Minister of Municipal Affairs. Ken, I also want to thank you.
I'm humbled.
For providing me with this opportunity. I deeply appreciate the work that you do here. That voice is very critical in our community to be able to tell our story. And I think that you are filling a gap that exists, that if not for this particular platform, we wouldn't have an opportunity to be able to discuss issues that are important to us. And I want to encourage viewers out there, wherever you may be, that this is the type of programs, community-based program, that provides a platform for us to be able to discuss our concerns and issues that impact us as a people, to give them the support that they deserve. And there are so many ways you could do that. I'm sure they will benefit from your donations and support. So Kenny, once again, to the people of Ontario, and of course our fellow countrymen and women, October 21st is a day that will determine the fate of our country, whether we continue to build a much more prosperous and stronger country is dependent on how we vote on October the 21st. And I do hope that you will join those of us in the Conservative Party to make our country great once again.
God bless you, Minister. I want to say this before you leave. I hope Toronto treats you well. I hope we are able to entertain you. There's a lot of places to enjoy in Toronto. So please try and have as much fun as you could have. And if you're in the neighborhood anytime, this is your place. Check on us. Thank you once again.
I have enjoyed the hospitality of the folks here.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to say a very big thank you to all our listeners all over the world. First of all, without you, we can't do what we're doing. We thank you, we thank you. It was great. It's awesome with my brother here, the Honourable Minister of Affairs here in the studio. Do not forget, this program is sponsored by Simi African Food. They are located at 50 Eddystone here in Ontario. I always tell people they are true grocery store in Ontario. They see me African food and there is the rest. Now they just opened another warehouse, a big warehouse not far from this 50 Eddystone to serve you better. The customer service is off the roof. It's family owned and family run. And guess what? When you go there, let's play a game. Tell them by the time you are cashing out, tell them you heard about them from GBKM FM, GBKM Network, and you will get a 5% discount. Yes, 5% discount. Thank you very much and have a GBKM Food Day. God bless you, and I love you, and I love you. Bye.